To what degree is AmerisourceBergen changing its own technology infrastructure to meet the needs of its customers?
First of all, let me start with, some of the smaller businesses we have, but that are very impactful. And, the work we're doing in Ion Solutions, the work we're doing in Extender, the work we do at Lash with really looking at, manufacturer needs and really patient needs and provider needs and bringing those together and really being able to get back very powerful information, which is so relevant. I mean, think about it. If you're a manufacturer and you have a drug that a patient is spending maybe $200,000 to $300,000 a year on, you want to know everything about that patient. So we have that, with all the different touch points we serve, we absolutely have that opportunity to keep on enhancing the level of informatics and the level of business intelligence that we get back to our various partners, whether it helps them with practice management or it helps them with understanding how their products get used in the marketplace. That's a great opportunity for us. On the more global level, when you talk about big AmerisourceBergen and our drug company, which is obviously the core business of AmerisourceBergen, the foundational platform business of AmerisourceBergen. If you think about us being 10 years old and the first 10 years really getting our supply chain to be the most efficient in the country, but you're looking at our SAP deployment and the passport system and the way that we've been able to really do the back office conversion so successfully, and now with us have gotten a few distribution centers under our belt, this vision of us being the easiest company to do business with and having the most efficient systems and the most productive systems and the most up-to-date systems, we are really well on our way to actually living that dream. And it's very exciting. So when you look at the transition for me from becoming CEO right as we started to get the second phase of the SAP implementation in, I think that we've got a lot of really positive forces for the company coming together, which all is going to lead to us playing an enhanced role in healthcare, which is very exciting. And a lot of that is going to be around the technology tools that we provide to our customers and being the easiest company to do business with.
Steve, you've provided a great lead into my next question, which is that AmerisourceBergen occupies an interesting place in the healthcare industry with customers and partners that include pharmaceutical manufacturers on one side and providers, whether those be pharmacists, physicians, or health systems on the other side. When you look out on that customer base, what are some things they are doing particularly well to grow in this economic environment?
First of all, one of the ways I might think about answering this question, and it's a multifaceted question, but let me start off with what our vision, mission, and values is. And, this idea of us being the preferred partner, to all the multifaceted customers that we serve, and our customer definition is as broad as it can possibly be because we do serve so many customers, but this is a really very powerful concept. So, I start with that. And then I look at what are the challenges that our customers are having. And, any customer that you meet with understands that they, like us, are going to have to keep on driving productivity and efficiency. If they're complaining about their reimbursement today, they know that it's only going to get worse. So, we have customers on, every level of the scale from, technology averse to technology embracing. And, I think we're going to have to work with all of them. It's just very clear to me that really the smaller the customer is, the more disaggregated they are, probably the more that they're going to need our help, and hence the need for a greater role for AmerisourceBergen. And that's very much what we focused on. And honestly, that's not only true in our specialty businesses and our consulting businesses, but it's also very much true in some of our larger drug distribution business. The opportunities we have in what we call alternate site. An independent pharmacy, and we really have 16 different classes of trade within the alternate site, and each one of them has their own needs, their own formularies, their own technology, and their own manufacturer, interface requirements. So we anyone that studies this business for any length of time, Gina, really becomes fascinated by how complicated and how intricate this pick, pack, and deliver function that we do every day has become. And it's because we are at this crossroads of healthcare, and it's where we want to be. We're very proud of that, and we want to only enhance that role. And if you look at the acquisitions we've made, it's all been about enhancing that role, and any future opportunities that we look at will definitely be in the pharmaceutical supply chain and related services, because that's what AmerisourceBergen is passionate about, and that's what our role is as we look towards our future.
So do you think it makes sense for us to play a role in helping our partners maybe share best practices with each other, whether those be pharmaceutical manufacturers or providers, maybe, and probably more for the provider side? Can we facilitate them learning from each other?
Yeah. Again, I think let's just for a moment focus on the smaller practices, and definitely with some of the systems that we're offering for our smaller independent pharmacies, the business coaching, for example, the warehouse type of systems that we look at. These are all about helping them understand their business environment, helping them understand their patient population better, and giving them the data that they need to run their businesses more profitably, which is a lot what we've had to focus. I mean, then you get into the very large customers, and we've been able to really move the needle for them on working capital. How much inventory do they need to cover? Do they need to hold when we have 26 distribution centers in our drug company strategically located? And we've been able to really move the needle on working capital for a lot of our customers with inventory optimization programs. So I think that we've got best practices to share there. I think clearly on reimbursement, we've got best practices to share. Clearly, the leadership that we have in alternate site, we've got lots of different learnings to share. And then when it comes to specialty, I think, again, this expertise we have, many times when we're meeting with even large pharmaceutical companies that are just now getting into the specialty area, there's more expertise on our side of the table. AmerisourceBergen Specialty Group has been involved in more launches, and our consulting services division, we have people on our side of the fence that really have more knowledge about how drugs get launched into these complex markets with increasing reimbursement challenges, with increasing handling requirements, and with a lot of I think that people were very entranced by the new thing, and if a drug was new and it had an FDA approval and insurance companies were reimbursing for it, they would just go ahead and put it in their system and start immersing it into their protocols, etc. Well, that environment's much more difficult now, so you need an AmerisourceBergen Specialty Group to get products really into the system and being utilized to their full efficacy in this much more complex and challenging marketplace.
What does innovation look like in the pharmaceutical distribution and services sector, and what impact will it play in the future of your industry?
Well, I think this greater role of helping with practice of the customers that really need our services. We have customers that are just so big that they can afford the McKinseys and Boozers and Boston Consultings of the world, but we have a lot of customers that can't afford that. So we really have to take our collective knowledge and apply that. And if you look back to what we've done in oncology, where we started out purely as a distributor, and then really through the emergence of ION, we've been able to expand our relationships to the physicians, and the practices have consolidated, and they've still had, some of these practices are doing, a couple of $100 million with us, but they still have a great need and a great interdependence with ION and oncology supply. And I see some of that emerging with community pharmacy. I think community pharmacy, our average pharmacist owns, 2.7 stores, so they're not quite as independent as people would believe. It's still about 22-23% of the retail market in the US, which is just an enormous market. Independent pharmacy on its own is still larger than Walgreens or CVS. And they're going to have challenges. They're going to have to be thinking about their networks. They're going to have to be thinking about contracting. So I think we have opportunities there. And the opportunities that really excite me are around the smaller, more disaggregated customers and what role could we play. Even with store selection, with store location, with merchandising, with providing the whole continuum of products that they need, and really having even a closer and more integrated relationship with those practices on the physician side, with both the closed and open door pharmacies that we service in our drug company. I really couldn't be more excited about the opportunities that we have ahead. And and a small part might be an expanded role in the world, particularly focused on specialty. The core drug wholesale business is not as interesting to us outside of the US and Canada, really because we don't have those very transparent, very professional and mutually respectful relationships that we have here in the US with manufacturers. And I'm proud of the relationships we have. And if we weren't involved in those sort of relationships, a practice like parallel trading, it's just an anathema to me. I could never be involved in something like that, and I don't want our company to be involved in that. So those are a lot of how we think about the opportunities ahead and what our relationships could be like. And relationships are very important. we should never take them for granted. The relationships that we have with our customers and our manufacturer partners and having that trust. I go back to our management meeting we had in May. We had a very impactful presentation on the speed of trust. Well, I think we mainly thought about that internally, but if you think about it externally, Gina, think about the trust that we have with our partners. It's very, very important, and we want to retain and, if possible, enhance that trust.
Steve, this has been an amazing amount of information today. Really, I think, impactful in our industry and interesting to everyone that's listening. So let's just wrap up with a fill in the blank. How would you fill in this sentence? At this time next year, AmerisourceBergen will be blank because of blank.
At this time next year, AmerisourceBergen will be, even more successful and even better placed in the supply chain because of how well we've handled these brand to generic conversions in fiscal year 2012.
Steve, thank you for sharing all of your thoughts with us today and taking time to spend with us. We appreciate it.
That was a tough question at the end. I mean, you could have given me some warning, but hopefully I came up with the right answer. So appreciate that. It's actually been a lot of fun, Gina. I really do appreciate it.
You're great. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us. We'll be back soon with another all-new webisode. Until then, if it's on your mind, it's in the know.